Hi everyone, it's Dave here from Boxing Updates. I just wanted to sit down and talk to you all a little bit about the upcoming Justis Huni and Fabio Wardley fight, our very own Fabio. An interesting one, a lot's happened. Obviously we were originally set up for a fight with Big Baby Miller, which a very different fight. We all know who he is. Big puncher, outstanding chin, really good engine for a big fella, comes forward, comes to fight. More interestingly, he's just essentially a bit of a dick, isn't he? He likes to be controversial. He likes to say very inappropriate things. He likes to get reactions. He likes to slap fighters. He likes to be outrageous. But we like that, don't we, as boxing fans? We've got, recently we've had the Ben Eubank fight, and whether you like it or not, that egg sold a lot of extra tickets and put a lot more interest on that fight. And things like that, yeah, you might not like them, but, they do help this. They do help these big events. They do make them more interesting. The controversy, and these situations, and that's kind of what happened a lot with the Big Baby Miller. People don't like him, and rightly so. He likes putting a needle in his arse, and he's cheated numerous times. And if AJ is to be believed, even though he hasn't said it outright, or he might just be trolling, he has alluded to the fact that he knows why the fight was called off, and you don't have to be a mastermind to read between the lines. Who's going to be surprised in a week or two or a month or two that we all find that out? And what'll happen? He'll get banned for a few weeks, and then he'll be back, or a few months, or whatever. It's what's the point in even talking about it or arguing about it? The powers that be aren't doing anything about it, so let's let it be. Let's just focus on the sport that we love. So yeah, it's a really interesting fight. I think the two big things is Baby Miller and Justis Huni couldn't be more different, as a fighter. And what a massive amount of respect you have to put on Wardley for this, because who would have blamed him? Who would have blamed him at all if he'd have taken a softer touch? He'd have taken a reasonable name, someone he could bang up and come away with a nice win. Who would have had anything bad to say about that? It's not his fault the fight's, turned this way, but he hasn't. He's not just picked a legitimate fighter. He has picked a prospect, someone who's he's only in his mid-20s, up and coming, who offers a real serious challenge to him, and that leads me to this whole thing about the risk and reward, because the thing with Baby Miller, even though we don't like him, or most people don't like him, and there's a fair reason for that, but he brings attention to the fight. He brings interest to the fight. And he's a name. He should have got the win against Ruiz. He gave Daniel Dubois, the now world champion, a really good fight. He's a decent fighter, the drugs aside. Now he's picked someone else who's a decent fighter, but isn't a name. He's an Australian prospect who, outside of boxing fans, casual fans aren't going to know who he is particularly. And what an amateur pedigree. Like, all the silverware he's won. He was meant to fight in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. That fell through. I think he broke his hand, something to that effect anyway. So that fight he never entered the competition, but he was a serious medal contender for that. A lot of people tipped him for bringing something home. So he's chose a fighter who has a fantastic amateur pedigree, who is an up-and-coming prospect, decent, good fighter, fast hands, excellent combinations, good defence, brilliant footwork, really good feet, picks his punches well, goes up and down, head to the body, got a high work rate. So there's all these aspects of this fighter that he's picked, but no one really knows that. So if Fabio comes away with a loss of this fight, there's going to be a lot of people going, "Oh, you just lost to some Australian fella," and he doesn't bring any controversy. He doesn't bring any reward to the fight. He's not bringing money. People aren't interested because he's a nice guy. The most outrageous thing about him is he's got Eminem's hair. That's it. He's just a nice fella and a professional and a good boxer, I believe. I don't know the guy, but. And that's why you've got to throw a lot of respect towards Fabio. You've got to be respectful to that, because it's nice to see fighters doing this, fighters wanting to take challenges and wanting to not just rest and get another win there, because we all know he's heading towards a world title fight if he carries on winning. So take another win, wait for that to come in, wait for the big paycheck to come in, but he hasn't. He's taken a really, really big risk. And on top of that, we look at sort of Fabio. Adversely, he's come through like white collar or unlicensed, whatever, but he's come through a different path. He's got no amateur experience. We've seen him progress as a professional. We've seen the start of his professional career, where I think everyone's been interested in him from the start because he's looked good from day one, but very very like rough and ready at times. But he has got better and better and better. And when you look at the way he fights, what boxing fan doesn't want to see a heavyweight who punches like a train, who's got massive heart, who loves a tear up, goes throwing shots, but he also gets hit. He can get suckered in and he can get punched. And why wouldn't you want to see that? That's what we want, isn't it, as boxing fans? And that's that's like the best fights we remember, those massive heavyweight battles from history. The Foreman, Ron Lyle, or Tommy Morrison, Donovan Ruddock, and all them other fights, and Bo Holyfield, all them big fights where people had a proper tear up. That's what you want in boxing. That's what we've got there. But he's also, even at this point, he seems like a really nice fella. But he's taking fights that he doesn't need to take. So every credit to him. But there's the risk, isn't it? The risk is that he's now fighting someone who is an excellent boxer, who's got an excellent engine. Who is he going to be able to exploit them vulnerabilities in Wardley? He plants his feet, he leaves himself open, he can be drawn into a fight. And then conversely, you've got a really smart boxer. You've got someone who's described as a middleweight in a heavyweiht's body. He's a big guy still, and he boxes really well. So are we going to see Wardley down the line? Is this going to be an upset? Would anyone be that surprised? I don't think you should be. If you know who they both are, if you know who Huni is, sorry, not Honey. If you know who Huni is and you know who Wardley is, you surely can't think this is a mismatch or a foregone conclusion. I'm still saying Wardley. That's my prediction. I think he'll probably stop him in the latter half of the fight in a competitive fight. We kind of look at Huni's chin. He's got that excellent win against Kevin Lerena. I think it's Lerena a few years ago, well, a couple of years ago. No slouch, a good fighter. Got some decent wins on his record. He had a bit of a tear up with Daniel Dubois. Certainly a good name for someone who's had like 8 or 9 fights that he had at the time. But it was a close fight. He was competitive in a lot of that. But he did get rattled in it, Huni. But he's still young. He's only in his early mid-20s. So lots of take from that. But more importantly, I think it's worth looking at and the sparring he had in about 2021. The chap's name escapes me. I probably should have researched this, but he got chinned with the left hook in sparring, and his legs went. He turned into Bambi on ice. He was all over the show, and that, I know it's sparring. That's what it's for. You're there to fight. You're there to you make mistakes. You make mistakes. That's it. But it's a chin, in it. It's not just like he was tired. He got outboxed or whatever. He got clipped and he got badly hurt. It's heavyweight boxing. It happens. I'm not saying it's a big deal, but what I am saying is Wardley is a massive puncher, a huge finisher, and it's just worth reflecting on, isn't it? Is he going to be able to take punches from someone as serious and as powerful as Wardley? That'll be the big question, and I think that's where Wardley's going to win. I won't be surprised if he's behind on points. Of note, if you're going to put money on that fight, don't listen to a word I say, because I'm quite well known amongst pals within boxing for being absolutely, utterly shit at calling fights. In fact, not just bad. The better bet would be to listen to what I've just said and then just go the opposite way. Bet on exactly the opposite, because I'd never get it right, ever did. But there we go. That's my thoughts. That's my predictions. I can't see Fabio getting stopped by him. I think it would be a points win. I just don't think that's on the cards. I think if Huni did do it, but Huni, sorry, that's my call. Anyway, just a side note. At this point, I meant to ask you to like this video, because that helps. I meant to ask you to subscribe to the channel, and I meant to ask you to press a bell. So you need to press a bell. So wherever the bell is, you press it, and that will help me. We boxing updates. You may follow us, you may not. We started as a Facebook group, big group, run by some really, really passionate boxing fans. It's a great page. You get on that group. It's run really, really well. We don't take any shit. We don't have any bullying or any other. You don't get me wrong. You're there to abuse each other. It's full of. It's funny. If you're a bit sensitive, probably not for you. But there's no lines crossed. It's a great page. It's all massive boxing fans talking about fights, arguing about fights. AJ Fury fans just kicking off all the time. Really good page to be on, so please go and take a look at that. We've got a Facebook page which is growing and growing and growing. There's a team of us working really, really hard with that. We've got Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, and they're all flying as well. We're posting news all the time, updates. We've got involvement with other social media outlets, and we're getting all this information. We really are growing. We've got a website, we've got a shop going, but this is the newest endeavour, this YouTube page. So not been going long, loads of shorts, silly AI stuff, fun stuff, just messing around. But the bigger picture for this is we want to do these form videos. So me wittering on, and some of the other people involved. We're going to start a podcast. The podcast is going to be me, a guy called Paul, and a girl called Lauren. Me and Paul are essentially just going to bicker. I know how to wind him up. He's easy to wind up, and I do a lot. Lauren is probably going to try and referee it a little bit, but we're going to talk about, you know, anything that's happening in the boxing world, anything that's going on. We'll talk and we'll chat to people, and we've already interviewed quite a lot of people, and we've had Ronald Winky Wright on the page and all sorts of stuff. So there's lots coming forward, and we're going to carry on doing it. So please support us. Please come and check, say hello. You'll find me on the group, and Paul and Lauren and all the other people, Jimmy and everyone else who helps. There's a big team of us. Always dead happy to talk and stuff. But yeah, this is it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If it's been shit, just tell me. It's fine. I've got thick skin. I don't mind. But I'd rather know. This is the first one I've done, sat here talking to you all. So yeah, and all 10 of you, or 11, however many people watch this. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you share it. And I hope you come back again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.